was a short dream that I had. I was at my grandparents' house. My grandparents have been dead for about 10, 11 years. And I was walking through the house and it was empty. There wasn't anything, no furniture, no nothing. It was just completely empty. And it was bright. It was a bright, sunny summer day because I remember looking out the front door and I could see the tree that was out in the front and had leaves, green leaves on it. It was just kind of waving in the sunlight. And so I was just kind of walking through these rooms and I heard a big truck pull up into the driveway. So I went out to look and I peeked my head out the door and it was the trash truck that had come. And he was trying to get around my car where I parked to get the trash bin. We're talking the big, huge trash bin, not just the little bucket or whatever. And I said to myself, "Oh crap!" I parked in front of it, whatever. So I run out there to go to move my car, and next thing I know, he's actually dragging the bin around my car down the driveway and taking it all the way out to the street, and I could hear the dragging of it, the metallic sound that it made when it was dragging across the concrete, and there was a big indentation that the bin was making as it dragged across the concrete. And I said to myself, if my grandpa had ever seen that, and then I thought to myself, he's probably turning in his grave right now, or something along those lines. I'd be pretty pissed. And then what ended up happening is the bin, it had got caught up on something, and as he tried to pull it back more, it was tipping, and eventually he gave it a good jerk, and the bin fell right on over. And I stood there and I just kind of stood there, and he backed all the way out without the bin to the street. And I thought to myself, I was saying, yeah, you asshole, you're probably just going to take off and leave it right there. And I was thinking to myself, I'm getting ready to write down the license plate or the truck number or whatever. And he ends up stopping at the sidewalk, and he gets out, and he comes towards me. For some reason, I knew how old he was. I knew that he was 23 years old, just really young guy. And I had the impression that he was just trying to make ends meet while he was going to school or whatever. And he said, I'm really sorry about the mess. We'll get this cleaned up in no time. And I said, nah, it's no big deal. We'll clean it up together. And well, anyway, we're just kind of picking up this trash and throwing it back in this bin, and I pick up this old radio. It was an old AM radio. Old. And my grandpa used to have one of these, and this is probably why I thought of this particular radio. It was just an old wooden radio, and it was brown. It was made out of wood, and it was shaped. It was kind of shaped in an arch shape. It was quite big, and I said to the driver, I said, why would my grandpa want to throw this thing away? I bet you I could modify it to pick up FM stations. And he says, yeah. He says, you probably could. So I found something on the ground. I said, yeah, this will work. And we're just kind of messing with the radio or whatever. And I said, hey, let's go sit on the porch and see what we can do with this thing. And he says, okay. And we just I plug it in, and we started hearing an 80s classic song, and it came through as an old time radio, like the old radio sounded. It's what it sounded like an old AM station radio. And I said, that's probably the best I'm going to be able to do with it. And he says, oh yeah, I remember this song. And I don't remember what song it was exactly, but I was just kind of, yeah, this is a great song. I remember this song. Well, then after that, the Madonna song, Shooting Star, I think is what it's called, came on, and he stood up and he just kind of, I'm done, that. And I said, yeah, I'm not much of a fan of this either. And so I turn off the radio and I start walking towards the mess again, and he stops for a second. He says, I forgot my license. I can't do any of this. I better go back and get my license. And I kind of said to him, I said, you're not saying that just to say that so you can get out of cleaning this up. And he said, no, I don't have my license. I can't help you. You need a class 3 disposal, blah, 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 I don't remember exactly what he said. And I just got really mad. And then at the very end of the dream, I thought to myself, well, my grandparents aren't here anymore anyway. I'll leave it for somebody else. And that's about when I woke up. Well, I can tell you that on occasion I do think about my grandparents and I think about their house. But I don't know where this trash truck came into play, because my grandpa didn't have one of those big trash bins. And I just don't know where the driver fit in all the dream. It was a really weird dream. I don't really know exactly what it really meant, but the radio, I think, was very impacting on me, because I do remember as a kid messing with that radio. It was downstairs in the basement, and the radio always kind of freaked me out because it was so old, and none of the stations came in right, and they were just prone to interference a lot, especially being in the basement. And so, you turn the knob and be like, you make all these funky noises. It used to scare me as a kid. Especially if my grandpa was down there and he decided to change the channel, I would do this, because I was scared of the radio. I don't know why. I can't explain it. It's just when you're a kid, you're afraid of certain things, and that always bothered me. So, but that was pretty much it for the dream. It was a weird dream.